Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. Quick announcement, today's video has two stories, both of them have updates. Now let's begin with the first one. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user Toaster in the Bathtub. Am I the a-hole for leaving my baby shower early and causing a scene? My 32 female husband of 7 years, 32 male, and I are pregnant. We have one previous child, Anne, 6 female, fake name, who has epilepsy. She has had one seizure before, relevant later in the story. To be honest, my mother-in-law is horrible. It's mainly what this post is about. She gives backhanded compliments, insults me and my looks, and always tries to set my husband up with other people. The last time we went to her place, she said she could make my husband a Tinder account or set him up with some girl who is the daughter of mother-in-law's best friend. My husband has told her to stop, but he doesn't do anything else. Newsflash, she doesn't stop. When sending invites to my baby shower, I told my husband I didn't want my mother-in-law there. He told me, since you're not letting my own mother be in the room with you when you're giving birth, you have to invite her to this. You should be grateful that you get a baby shower at all. Also, he wouldn't even be at the baby shower as he has something at work. Anyway, at the baby shower, I was telling everyone how our baby was once again a girl. My mother-in-law then decided to say, "Wow, another girl? Let's hope she's not like her sister." I asked what she meant by that and she said, "We don't need any other diseases in the family. Imagine seeing a newborn baby drop to the floor and shake everywhere. It's embarrassing." At first I was honestly confused as she clearly had zero idea what she was talking about, but then the pregnancy hormones really kicked in and I started crying hysterically. I left my friend's house and my mother drove me home. Once I got home, I saw my husband there. I didn't know why he was home and not at work, but I just didn't stop crying. He said, "Where are all the gifts? Do you realize how expensive some baby things can be?" I honestly couldn't believe he said that of all things, so I decided to lock myself in our bedroom. About 10 minutes later, he tells me he got a text from his mother explaining what happened. He told me that I caused a scene and should be happy I got to meet up with some friends today. I tried explaining how wrong what she said was and how she insulted our daughter and unborn baby. He said, "Well, Anne's epilepsy medication isn't cheap, so I see why she said what she said. You just interpreted it wrong. Apologize to my mother." I packed a bag and called my mother to pick me up. I'm currently at her place and she's picking Anne up from school. My husband and his family keep blowing up my phone and calling me a drama queen along with other hateful names, so I need to ask, am I the a-hole? Well, OP, if in this situation you need to ask if you're the a-hole, then you're clearly in a crappy relationship. One that you're so deep in that you don't see how bad the actions of your mother-in-law and your husband are. Let's face it, they're both competing for a-hole of the year here. Your mother-in-law first with her horrible comments regarding Anne and her situation, and that distasteful joke that she made. Wasn't even a joke, it was just distasteful. And your husband by backing her up and then telling you that you need to apologize to her mother because you interpreted a disgustful and distasteful thing that she said wrong? Yeah, OP, you interpreted it just right. Your husband needs to stop being a mommy's boy and standing up for you and your daughter, or else I don't see your relationship working out past these 7 years, that I would even argue have already been 7 years too many. So OP, I think you need to sit down with your husband, set him straight, and see if he apologizes and wants to course correct. If not, then you've got some thinking to do. So as a summary, not the a-hole OP. And what about you guys? What is your judgment? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Fukure Morales 3 says, "Not the a-hole. You are in an abusive relationship. You are putting your daughter on the firing line to also be abused. You are sacrificing her, and for what? A man who is cruel to you, cruel to his kids, and has his balls in his mom's purse. You heard what your mother-in-law thinks of your little girl. You hurt her. You know what she thinks. And if she is brave enough to say that in public, what is she willing to do in private? She is a danger to your kids. Your husband sees your child as a drain on his money. He agrees with his mom. He sees his child as defective. He is a danger to his kids. With all this being said, why, for all that is holy, are you placing your children in harm's way? If you won't leave and get help for yourself, please do it for your kids." Butterfly Wing 71 says, not the a-hole, but your mother-in-law and hubby are major ones. Worked as a pediatric nurse for years, and what your mother-in-law stated is way out of line, as well as your crappy husband wanting you to apologize to her. He's just as bad as her for telling you to be grateful and calling you a drama queen. The apple didn't fall far from the tree when it comes to your toxic mother-in-law and husband. He's also pretty greedy on caring more about the expensive gifts than you. They are both emotional abusers, and you as well as your daughters deserve better. Abbreviations Odd 4941 says, I am shouting expletives in my kitchen. Your mother-in-law and husband are monsters. Embarrassing to see a baby have a seizure. Scolding his sobbing pregnant wife for being upset and not bringing the presents. These people are disgusting. You did not cause a scene and you are not the a-hole. Your reaction was totally understandable. I just wish your friends had booted that bitch so you could have stayed and enjoyed your shower. Good on you for going to stay with your mother. I'm so sorry you and your daughter are in this awful situation and hope you have a safe and healthy pregnancy away from this toxic BS. Additional information from OP's comments. He said he doesn't agree with the diseased part, but he does agree it would be good if she didn't have epilepsy, or something like that. Trust me, that's not even the stupidest thing he said. Also, he knew some of my friends got more expensive gifts, like prams and strollers, and he wanted to save money and said he was thinking of the future. I do have friends. They are the ones who planned and held the baby shower. OP's edit. Wow, this blew up. I woke up to 700 new notifications, so thank you all for your feedback. Just wanted to let you all know that I am meeting up with my husband later today and we will discuss things. I will be showing him the post and all your comments. Also, thank you for all the kind messages and the awards too. Thanks. Alright, well, the community is waving all the red flags for OP to understand that she is in an abusive relationship. Apparently, OP did understand that and is going to do something about it. So now let's move on to the first of two updates. But of course, before, I gotta let you know about the playlists. Here's another one with only stories that have updates. Now let's move on. Okay, so I'd like to start by explaining my username. My friend, who hosted the baby shower, suggested the name as a joke. When I showed her the kind of things y'all said, I also asked, why do people think I'm life-ending? So I'd just like to say I'm not, and my friend apologized if we worried any of y'all. Okay, now to what happened. All of you were talking about how abusive my husband is. I guess I never realized it was abused just because it wasn't physical. I don't know why I had that mindset, but I did. I sat him down and started reading. Your mother-in-law's horrible, divorce this man, and doesn't deserve this, etc. I explained to him that I wanted a divorce. We were in a public cafe, so I knew there was no way he'd physically hurt me. This is how the conversation went after I said I wanted a divorce. Husband said, so just because a few strangers on the internet told you to do something, you're going to do it? It's not a few, it's thousands, I said. So he goes, it doesn't matter who it is, you don't even know them. And I say, well, you don't know the chefs in the restaurants, yet you trust them to cook your food. And then he says, shut the F up. And I go, it's not my fault, all you do is run to mommy and choose her over your daughter. And then he says, I don't give an F about you or your opinion, you effing bitch. And I go, ha, okay. After that, he stormed out of the cafe. I think you'll be glad to know that I emptied our joint bank accounts and took any valuables. You might think, oh, that's a happy ending to the story, but there's way more. So my father-in-law contacted me, which is weird, we only talk at family gatherings and whatnot, and told me he apologizes on behalf of his wife's actions. He told me that she never liked me because I stole him away from someone called Melissa? Apparently, my husband and she were together during college, but she cheated on him. Mother-in-law still loved her like a daughter, though. Turns out, all these years we've been together, he's been cheating on me with Melissa. Mother-in-law knew, father-in-law knew, everyone knew. It explains a lot, like why he wasn't at work that day. What actually happened was, Melissa came over to our house and they had sex in my own bed. I was disgusted hearing it. I'm not sure how, but she must have left before I came home. So basically, Melissa told mother-in-law and mother-in-law told father-in-law. Father-in-law said he regretted not telling me sooner and kept apologizing over and over again. I was shocked and started crying. I thanked him for telling me and said I just needed some space. However, he also told me that mother-in-law was telling a different story about what happened on that day. None of my soon-to-be ex's family was there, so they didn't know what happened. And that's why everyone was telling me to apologize to mother-in-law. Mother-in-law told them that I started yelling at her for wearing a better dress than me on my special day, and I threw drinks and food on her. She made a mess of her dress previously, so I'm guessing that's what she used as evidence. Lol. Father-in-law said, "The woman really loves herself. In a couple of days I can guarantee you we'll have another picture of herself hanging in our living room." I laughed and said goodbye. I've also gotten a lawyer to sort out some divorce stuff. Finally, my brother has flown in to see and help me. I think he will do it instead of the police because he is a pretty big guy and my soon-to-be ex-husband has always been intimidated by him. Also, I've actually got really great friends and they've helped me a lot through this. They all support my decision. I'm eternally grateful for their help, and the ones present at the baby shower are 100% willing to provide statements, and they were and always have been disgusted by mother-in-law's behavior. Well, that was a roller coaster of an update. It's a good thing father-in-law found the courage to come clean about his son and his wife. Maybe he should follow OP's example. Anyways, let's move on to the final update to see how this story ends. So, a lot has happened. Apparently, after my ex left the cafe, he went to a bar and got really drunk. He ended up assaulting the bartender and then resisting arrest and hitting an officer once the police came. So he had the audacity to try and get me to bail him out. I just laughed and hung up. So he obviously called mommy and she came to the rescue. Hopefully, I can use that against him because I will be fighting for full custody. My friends work in the legal sector, so he's helping me out with that and explaining it all to me. I am also planning to file some sort of restraining order if possible, and I'll buy some security cameras. I've also told my daughter's school that I'm the only main contact now. Thank you once again to everyone who interacted with my post whatsoever. Positive or negative feedback, I am grateful for it. I also got a lot of good advice. Anne has been asking a lot of questions still, so I'm going to be explaining everything to her tonight. She's pretty mature for her age, but I'm just worried that this might really affect her, especially since she's so young. Well, I'm gonna call this a positive update underway to a horrible situation. OP, what you and your daughter have gone through sucks. But the good thing is that you're on your way out and onto a better place. So all the best in the future and thank you so much for sharing. Take care. Now, let's move on to the next post that, like I said in the beginning, also has an update. This post is from the subreddit True Off My Chest, and it's by user Deleted. I got a text from husband by mistake that he was supposed to send to his affair partner. I have been doing an online college for 3 years. Now, the last 6 months is an internship where I had to relocate to the capital, which is a 5-hour train ride from where my husband and I live with our 2-year-old. I can only afford to go home 2 weekends a month. We're saving to buy a house once I'm finished with my studies and landed a decent job. Anyway, yesterday I got a very suspicious text that said, "No sleepover, early day tomorrow." What the F? I logged into my husband's iCloud and I find out that he has been sleeping with a friend of ours, and the reason is that I'm not home to take care of his needs. He tells this friend over and over again that this is just sex, just as long as I'm not in town, and that he loves me and isn't interested in her emotionally. She's a temporary solution. I mean, I get it, penises probably fall off if they don't get used, so I fully understand you, husband. I sent him the screenshots of my findings, and believe it or not, I also have needs, but instead of sneaking around behind his back with a mutual friend, I introduced him to my temporary solution. I'm contemplating forwarding the screenshots to the woman and her husband too. I think we'll need to be on the same page. It's just fair, isn't it? Well, OP's not asking for any suggestions or any advice, she's just getting it off her chest, and I have to say, OP, your husband sucks. I know it's a crappy thing when you find out you're getting cheated on, but the good thing is that you now know, and you should definitely forward the screenshots to that woman and her husband. I think he'd want to know too. I mean, just like you say, it's just fair, isn't it? So yeah, OP, if you get the chance, just expose them both. And what about you guys? What would you do if you were in OP's shoes? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they had to say. Babibi says, send the screenshots. I think it's fair to both you and the affair partner's husband to know the truth. He's an a-hole for thinking it's okay to sleep with her as long as he doesn't have feelings for her. You deserve better than his cheating ass. Hannah Ryder 215 says, is your husband financially supporting you? You should definitely save the screenshots for later, but you may want to wait until graduation before filing for divorce. It may make a custody easier for you then versus now. Right now, it seems he's the primary parent while you're completing your internship, and he may be able to get full custody of your child. I'm not saying you shouldn't break up with him eventually, but please be smart and safe about it. And Opie responds, no, I have student loans and savings. He will probably want divorce once I start sleeping with other people. Selection No 2103 says, if his needs are that important, then he should have approached you about opening the marriage. It's not just cheating, it's lying, and it's dragging everyone in y'all's lives into a big fat mess. Do what you have to, but don't be surprised if he keeps doing it. And Opie responds, he doesn't want to open the marriage since he's freaking out now about me wanting to do the same. Well, the community is behind Opie and her solution, but they also told her that she should just dump this guy and get rid of him, but be smart about it. So now let's move on to the update to see what ended up happening and how this story ends. So this is the update about my post from the other day when my dear husband sent me a message that was purposed to be sent to our mutual friend that he has been screwing for the past 6 weeks or so. I'm back in my hometown for the weekend, but I'm staying at my parents'. I don't think I'm ready to be home yet, if ever, because I keep picturing them all over my home. God, I hope they stayed away from my favorite chaise longue. He wanted to talk before I went to mom. He said that he was sorry and that he loved me. Aw, she never meant anything, just sex. How romantic. He will never speak to her again. How nice of him. He wants to work on our marriage and suggested counseling. Duh. I told him that I was meeting a dude on Sunday and showed him his picture. He got very upset and started crying, then arguing, then threatening divorce. How original. I told him if that was what he wanted, then I totally understood, but that I have needs. When I saw my mom, I just started bawling my eyes out. The first time I cried since everything. She was scared at first, but I was too exhausted to start on the details, so she got the coming attraction. She started crying too. Dad was right. I have inherited my mom's flair for drama. I just went and took a nap in her bed with my son, and when I woke up, she had made my favorite foods. We talked about the week that was and my plans. I sensed that she was getting agitated about me starting to hook up with city dudes, but surprisingly enough, she just said, it wouldn't be you if you didn't. Should I be offended? Husband texted what I believe is his way of a compromise, huh? He wants me to quit my internship because I could always do it next year. Instead, we take this year off to work on our marriage and we could wait with the house and other dreams that we've planned. What a stellar guy. Yeah, I won't dignify his text with an answer. I'm afraid we are kicking stepdad to the guest room tonight because my son and I are taking his place. Smiley face. Sorry for the long post. Good night. Extended from Opie's comments. I met the Tinder guy for dinner because I wanted to see if there was any chemistry at all, and we went to his place afterward. When I got home, my husband was waiting outside, and the look on his face was exactly how I felt reading the texts with his affair partner a week ago, and it felt good. He was crying and saying that I have ruined our marriage. He was very surprised. He didn't know I was so vindictive, and he thought I loved him more than this. I told him that my Tinder meant as much as her name meant for him. He told me that it was over. I know people won't agree with me here, but I don't regret anything. I don't feel happier or sadder. Just that it's fairer now. You know what I mean? Opie's edit update. I've been seeing my Tinder dude for a while and my husband is angry. No surprise there. I am on my way to the city now. I've been home with my parents for the weekend. I had a huge fight with my husband on Friday because I continued to cheat on him and he hasn't had anyone since I caught him. He must think that's an achievement. I don't know how to make him understand that if he wants to still be married to me, I only agree to an open relationship or he needs to divorce me and move on. The word has spread about who my husband has cheated with. I haven't even told my mother and yet people figured it out anyway. Her husband kicked her out of the house. She texted me that I have ruined her life. The nerve on that girl. I texted my husband that if he took her in, I want my son out of there. but she is staying with her parents. I have started looking for daycare in the city and hopefully I could move my baby with me until I finish my studies. We have one where I do my practice, but it's full. I hope they have an opening soon. It would be amazing to have him so near me. Wish me luck! Well, OP, you're definitely sticking to your guns and getting through all of this superbly well, so good for you. It's a good thing that the husband of the affair partner kicked her out, and she has the audacity to tell you that you ruined her life. What an idiot. Anyways, OP, I wish you and your baby all the best in the future. Hopefully you graduate soon and can find an awesome job. Take care, OP, and thank you so much for sharing. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out, so here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later, and also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.